Okay, here's another episode of what you need to have in your toolbox as a handyman. This might sound trivial, but the tape is something you want to have. I'm not talking about, oh, I need tape, I gotta go buy it. I'm talking about you actively having a big box of them in your inventory everywhere you go. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're a painter, you're gonna do that. But if you're a handyman, you might not think that you need tape, but you're gonna use tape so much everywhere. You can use it to hold things in place while they're set. You can use it to protect surfaces. I've even used tape and paper towels as Band-Aid temporarily on job site. You gotta make sure you get the good tape, the right tape. You don't wanna just see a low price and you gobble that up and say, oh, I got a cheap tape. And then it's gonna be hard to work with. It's probably gonna be thin. It's gonna tear out easily. It might even damage your surfaces. So you just have to spend the money and have a box of good ones handy for when you need them. Another thing about tape is you have to make sure you don't leave it for too long peeling what's there already in tape in terms of finish. It's very much the case with flooring. The varnish on flooring can come off. Sometimes the varnish is so old it will come off with any tape. So you have to actually tell the client about that. But you want to avoid putting tape against the varnish on the ground if you're trying to protect the ground for some sort of a job. Always use the baseboards. But aside from that, obviously painting is what you use tape for. And you have something like this where it's a textured surface. So when you put your tape down, you have to make sure you account for that textured surface before you put your new paint on there. So if I was gonna paint this side right here a different color, I will go with a brush and paint this color first over this tape, let that set. You can accelerate that with that little heat gun, and then go with your new color over that, and when you peel it, it'll be a crisp line. On a non-textured surfaces, if it's clean, has no dust, it's not wet, you put your tape down, make sure it sticks. If your tape's really sticking, then you don't need to do that. Either way, when you're using your brush on a tape job, never, if you're taping this, never have a stroke that goes into the tape. Regardless of whether you did the pre-color, whether it's a splat surface, never ever do that, because what you're doing is you're pushing tape under that lip, and you could lift it, and even if you did the colors right, you could slightly see a little texture there from overbuilding of paint. So you always want to either go straight down on that edge or slightly peel away. So that way you constantly pushing that tape down and you never shoving paint under it. Also, when you're doing the first coat on that, you never want to have a loaded brush. This is my beautiful Stinger brush, by the way. No better brush. You don't want to load your brush so that this thing's heavy in paint and it's going on that edge and it's just saturating everything. You want to come over here on the wall, whatever, or just get a lot of it off. It's almost dry, and you put that first coat on dry. Okay? That's taping. All right? And those things, if you remember, you can be a good handyman. Otherwise, you ain't gonna be a good handyman.